Welcome to the Matrix World, your go-to resource for applicable, real-world tips and insights to help you create a successful, sustainable, mission-based business. Hosted by Karen Curry Parker and Michelle Vandepass. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or any other podcast platform, and learn more about our virtual co-working community at thematrix.world.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Matrix Show. I'm Karen Curry Parker, and I am here with the co-founder of The Matrix, Michelle Vandepass, who has so many titles. Today, when I was writing a little reminder email, I was like, what do I call Michelle? Yes, Michelle is a best-selling author. Yes, Michelle is a TEDx presenter. Yes, Michelle is a business coach. Yes, Michelle is a purpose coach. Yes, Michelle is, wow, what have you not done?
Oh my goodness. All right.
Yes. So we are going to be talking today about inner and outer alignment and why that's important for your business success. But before we do that, Michelle, take it away. You got housekeeping stuff for us to explore.
I do. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited. We are doing a drawing for the Matrix members. We're doing a member spotlight, and I am pulling a name here from the cup of all the people who posted their vision and their goals and their dreams for 2019 in the Matrix community. And this person that I've just drawn is going to get a member spotlight this month. So let's see who it is.
All right, let's see who it is.
Stacy.
Oh, Stacy, awesome.
Yay.
Awesome,
Okay,
awesome,
Stacy,
great.
so I'm not sure if you're watching live, but I will contact you and we'll set up an interview and get you spotlighted. Very exciting. So congratulations.
So, exciting too, because we get to introduce Stacy to all of you who don't know Stacy, and Stacy's doing some amazing, amazing work. So exciting. Good. Cool.
Hey.
What else do you have for us in terms of housekeeping?
Housekeeping stuff. So we've got some amazing things coming up on the Matrix Show. We are hosting a think tank where Karen and I have interviewed some incredible entrepreneurs who are doing business a different way. And some of these people are really going to surprise you. So
we're going to be talking about doing business in the quantum era and how is the nature of business changing. And if you are an entrepreneur, things you can do to stay on the leading edge of the evolution of business and the economy on the planet. And I had the privilege of interviewing half of our people. Michelle had the privilege of interviewing the other half, and I haven't got to listen to all of your interviews. I did listen to your Perry Marshall interview, and wow. I mean, amazing stuff that you guys are you probably have not heard a lot about anywhere else. These are not people who are really, I mean, some of our people are out there marketing, but they're really sharing information about what's next in the next 10 years for the global economy and how that's going to impact your business and the world. And how to use your business to serve the world better. So exciting stuff.
And I think that they're going to surprise you, that some of the things said in these interviews. So I'm very excited about it. And so you can join our event to get notification. And that's this event that you're watching right now, the show. You can join the email list. Just be looking for those things. We'll pop it up here underneath this interview after it goes live to make sure you know how to be informed. So
totally.
I think that's all the housekeeping.
That is, except we do have, I think, 2 spots left on our upcoming OHO retreat, which we'll post. We can give you some information about that later too. So
yeah, absolutely. Come hang out with Karen and I. This next retreat, we're going to go really dive deep into creativity and purpose and how you can use your own internal soul wisdom to guide you in this quantum era. So yeah,
totally.
Come with us. Okay.
Totally. And actually that's a good segue into our conversation for today, because one of the things we're going to be, the topic for our show today is inner and outer alignment in your business and why that's important to business success. And certainly self-care is a big piece that's deeply related to alignment. And actually, I'm not going to talk about this first, but it is the thing that I really want to make sure we come back around to talk about, because it is the place where I see especially what I'll call heart-based entrepreneurs or soul-based entrepreneurs or conscious entrepreneurs, whatever beautiful title you're giving yourself, if you're in the business of serving others with your business, self-care is a place where we often fall down, and we don't understand sometimes that that's not just about you staying sustainable in your business. That's also going to affect the quality of the clients that you draw into your world to work with. So, so do you want to get started, or do you want me to start? Because I'm totally in the flow. I love it when you and I talk together. So.
I know, we just go. So I think when we're talking about inner and outer alignment, well, let me start by saying how we got into this conversation a little bit. And that is, I notice over on the Matrix community when we do open Q&As and when I have people come to me with questions about business structure, often they're jumping ahead trying to get to an end result before they've done the inner work of how they're going to get there. And that's how you and I started this conversation. And I think it's important to step back and figure out what it is you really want, what it is you're really going for. And here's just like a very third dimensional, a grounded example. Let's say you want to get 5 new clients. Then you keep that goal in mind and go inside and align with your marketing, what I would call your marketing archetype, some things inside of yourself that's going to help attract those clients, magnetize those clients, but also how you're going to market to go find those clients without worrying about all of the rabbit holes you could go down, like creating a membership site or a whole funnel or 27 autoresponders in your series or 3 new websites and landing pages. And right, it's like you've got to align with who you are, what your marketing is, how you're going to attract those clients, and then go step by step to get those 5 clients. So that's how we started this conversation. Very grounded, very third dimensional business example there, but I think it's important.
Totally. And I'm going to actually, if it's okay with you, share some slides, because this is this is something that has also really been spinning out of my work that I've been doing around burnout recently. And that's right, the right slides. One of the things that I talk about a lot in terms of business success is the importance of staying sustainable in your business. I just did a talk, I did a live presentation this week at a co-working space with a group of entrepreneurs who are in their 20s and 30s. And I know we typically call those millennials, but I'm not allowed to use that phrase anymore. According to my millennial children, that's an insult.
Really? Cool. Okay.
So I don't know what to call them, but they were really beautiful, amazing people. And they were already starting to burn out. They were talking about in their business, in the entrepreneurial networking groups that they were in, that there was an energy of valor around sacrificing yourself to your business. And that many of their cohorts who are entrepreneurs were not taking any days off and were really kind of touting, sort of as a badge of honor, how much effort they were putting into their business. And I think when we look at our beliefs that we have collectively around, if you want to make money, you have to work. And if you want to make more money, you have to work harder. And even though we think we have undone that programming, I want to invite everybody as we explore this conversation today, how much do you really believe that when you work in an aligned and smart way in your business, you can make money without having to work hard? Now, that being said, you still have to show up. And I think that's another piece of it that makes it kind of interesting, because you and I have been in business. We joke about collectively, we've been in business more than 60 years. And certainly we've been in the same business pretty much in different variations, but the same kind of business our entire adult lives, which makes us a little bit different, I think, than a lot of our clients who have oftentimes escaped old work into new work, or I call them escaped the cube, right? They've escaped from the cubicle. But there is a way when you are aligned to actually decrease the amount of effort and striving in your business so that your business does bring you better results with less effort. Now, that being said, again, it's not going to be like passive revenue stream. That ain't happening. but definitely you can do it easier. Yes.
I want to say something here because you said something really important, which was you still have to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to touch on that for a minute because, as you know, I just helped a client who has been really focused on the back end of her website. And I think this is a really good example. And going down these rabbit holes of uploading new videos and doing lots of social media stuff and putting up stock photos and all these things. And we worked together just for a morning, and together we wrote one email for her.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that one email, she generated $15,000 to what I would call a really small list, like 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what was different. She had to show up in that email. She had to be a little bit vulnerable, be a little bit transparent, not do marketing types of language like this is on sale now for the next 24 hours, buy it 50% off, click here, click here, click here. No, it was from the heart. This is what I'm offering. This is why I think it's a match for you. It was much more heart opening for her, much more, it came from a heart-centered marketing, which is this is who I am and this is how I think we might be a match to work together. This is what I offer and this is what I think you need. And it totally flipped her upside down from her marketing perspective, because this is what we're talking about, inner and outer alignment. It wasn't about all this back end stuff in her website, although that's important. It is about not working harder, but showing up to who you are, showing up for your prospective clients.
Absolutely. And I think even that's powerful. And of course, that's super important. And even making it more tangible than showing up with your heart. When we look at why do you have the clients that you have, or why do you have the business that you have? Because sometimes the business isn't bringing you clients, and there's something to explore there as well. Why is your business looking the way that it is? When we look at business, especially if you have clients, you're looking at what the quantum physicists call a tangled hierarchy, meaning when you say, or you set the intention, or you make the choice or the decision, I'm going to attract a client, or I need clients, or I want clients, or I want business, right? You're actually tapping into the quantum field, which is basically the set, an unlimited set of non-manifested possibilities, right? And if you've ever done Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, or just even visualized or set intentions, whenever you're setting a goal or setting intentions, basically what you're doing is you're sending out a vibrational signal to the universe. The universe in turn is sending, in response to that vibrational signal, something that matches that vibrational signal. For you to have a client, there has to be you saying, I want a client, but your client is also doing the same thing. Your client is also saying, hey, I need some help. I need to hire somebody. They are also tapping into a potential out of the quantum field by sending out their own vibrational signal. And the reason why the two of you get together is because the two of you actually match vibrationally. So you get the clients that match your vibration. Your client gets the practitioner, healer, coach, whatever, author, who matches their vibrational request. And so that creates what we call tangled hierarchy, which is when you've got two intentions that unify together and come together in a co-created, collapsed quantum potential, is what quantum physicists were said, or a co-creative experience. When you collapse possibilities, it's about you as the observer and the client and you. So it's both of you creating it. There really is, you don't know who manifested who, and in the infinite drive of what the universe knows you need for your own growth and expansion. And we always talk about business isn't just about making money. It's actually a spiritual path that leads to your own growth and evolution as well. Recognizing that your client is there for your benefit as well, not just for the money piece, but also for the benefit of your heart and your own growth. And when you recognize that frequencies modulate, where you are at is going to influence your client. And honestly, where your client is it might not be something that's going to affect you therapeutically, but I will certainly say from my own experience and also just from understanding the science of this, your clients are usually about a micro nano step behind you in terms of their own evolution and development, meaning your client oftentimes is going to reflect back to you something you just finished clearing yourself or something that's going on in your life right now. And one of my favorite examples is about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I was dating this guy named David. And it was a very passionate and tumultuous relationship, right? And I was in this very protracted process of breaking up with David that was just, gutting me, right? And every client I had was dating or breaking up with somebody named David. And it was like, wait a minute, I'm done with this. I don't want this in my, but it was really, an interesting co-creation there. And the thing that's important to understand about this is the more aligned you are with your highest potential and the quantum field, the greater potential you have for service. Your alignment with what's possible for yourself and the expansion of your own potential actually creates an opening for your client to step into the frequency of energy that you're holding. I love the statement, a rising tide lifts all boats. And when we look at, your ability to show up as, let's say, a healer, you're only going to be able to lift your clients as far as you yourself have been lifted. Now, that being said, I just want to throw in a little caveat. Sometimes your clients will show up and you give your whole heart and they are the perfect client and they don't get the results. And that's also because they also have to agree to do the work. And sometimes they need to be seated with the possibility, and they may go find another practitioner who finally gets them to finish that opening up process. And you were adding to that critical mass. So you can't get too attached to it. And it's a weird dance. It's like you want to be responsible for your own vibrational frequency, but you also can't get so attached to your client, particularly if you're showing up and doing your best. If they don't take whatever it is you have to offer, that's also kind of on them. But I think when we look at this in the context of business, one of the things that's really important to pay attention to is not only is this about your own personal growth and development, but this is why when we talk about you got to walk your talk, this is why it's so important in your business. Because if you're telling your clients, oh, well, you need to rest and take care of yourself, and you need to love yourself, and you need to value yourself, and then you're showing up and overworking, or you're showing up and here's the big one, you haven't hired a coach yourself ever, or you won't hire a coach because you think you can't afford it. And then you do a sales call with someone and they're telling you, well, I really want to do this, but I can't afford it. There's a very interesting mirror to look at, especially in the context of sales and marketing, because your clients and even your sales conversations are going to reflect back to you, where are you on that spectrum? And are you literally living your life in every element in the way in which you are instructing your clients to do that? Because if you're not, don't be surprised if they're showing up the way you're showing up and it's triggering you because you're like, because it's your stuff unconsciously or maybe consciously, and you got to figure out that relationship there. So
Karen,
yes.
I want to also just talk about this for a minute, because I think the flip happens as well, which is if you're not conscious of what's going on in your internal world and something is triggering you to be conscious of it, you will attract clients to you, or suddenly all your clients will have that same thing that you need to learn. So you can flip it. It's exactly the same thing you're saying, but let's pretend for a minute that you need to take care of yourself. You need to go home and just take the weekend off, and you're not really conscious of that is what your next step is, or that's what your body is asking you to do. Suddenly that whole week, you may have clients coming to you saying, I'm exhausted. I need to take some time off. And suddenly you'll realize, if you're conscious of it, you'll realize that I'm attracting this so that I can learn from this, so that I can pay attention to what I also need. Right? So if you're not in alignment, you'll attract the clients mirroring it back. But sometimes you'll also attract the clients, or your clients will mirror back to you what you need. It's an interesting dance, a circle. And so just here's what I like to do. I like to look at the world sometimes as, what is it showing me right now? What is it teaching me right now? What is there that I can pay attention to right now? You know, when we say that our animals carry our emotions for us, that's right. A lot of people talk about that. Well, so do our clients. They carry things for us. And if we can pay attention to that and not be so triggered, not be so invested, but just pay attention to it and not take it personally, we can actually move through our own stuff really quickly that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's why one of the most powerful exercises you can do, especially when you do hit a hiccup, or, you know, if you're starting to feel burned out, or you're starting to be frustrated because you've been trying to do sales conversations, and every time you hit the part where you're supposed to close the sale, you start to feel guilty, or you get that stomach ache, right? About, oh, I got to talk about my price now. Right? When you hit those spaces, I find that one of the most powerful things you could do is take yourself to the bathroom mirror and then ask yourself, okay, if I was my own client, what would I tell myself? And to make sure that you're really showing up, and I know I keep saying showing up, but you're doing exactly what you would have your clients to do, because you can't expect them to do what you do if you're not also doing what you say.
Yeah, take your own advice.
Right. It's just like parenting, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell my kid be respectful and then talk to her like she's in a disrespectful way, because she's not going to understand what you're talking to me like I'm a dog. So why wouldn't I? I thought that was the family culture, right?
And I know you don't do that. And just on the sales piece, I think it was last week I did the whole show on sales. So anyone who has to go look in the bathroom mirror every single time you go to close, go listen to that
Yes.
replay of that show. I find it so interesting that we can do inner and outer alignment, Karen, from emotional, spiritual, physical. It almost doesn't matter where you start. If you start in one place, it will ripple to all other areas of your life. Yeah. Totally.
And I think, again, getting back to really making it grounded, really, and then this goes back ultimately to continuing the conversation about burnout and sustainability in the business. The biggest piece, the biggest place where I see people fall down, entrepreneurs especially, or self-employed people fall down, is the lack of willingness, or the fear, or the belief that I can't afford to rest. And that fear that, well, I have to keep working hard, and they're martyring themselves to their business. And I certainly would say I learned that the hard way. At 40, I was sleeping with my laptop under the bed and whipping it out 2-3 times a night to check emails for customer service, because I started at that point having international clients, and I was panicking that emails weren't going to get handled, or money was not going to come in, and I wasn't going to be able to, respond quickly enough. And and then I had kids I was raising by myself, and I was, working in a psychic hotline at night. Literally, I was sleeping and I had a cell phone with a psychic hotline on it, and I was answering that phone just to scrape together whatever pennies I could at that time. And I ended up with breast cancer, which I am 100% certain for me. And I'm not saying everybody gets breast cancer for this reason, but certainly it was one of the reasons why I felt like I really created this dramatic burnout, because I had to stop. And I had to stop because not only was I burning out, I really couldn't with any integrity tell my clients to take care of themselves. And it was very interesting to notice that the more I moved into an inner alignment with self-worth, which when we look at business and the relationship between your self-worth and your income in your business, and there's a 1-to-1 correlation there. When I really started raising my self-worth and saying, I am worthy of resting, and I deserve to take time off, even if I haven't made XYZ profit that my brain says I should have made, that I actually started making more money. And more importantly, it wasn't just I started making more money. And I still have this thing, it's hysterical. If I go on vacation, I make more money on vacation than I do in the office. And I'm like, why can't I figure out how to leverage this, 365 days a week?
Right. And that's the thing. I always recommend to people, if they're stuck writing a book or stuck in their business, whatever it is, that they just take a day off or an afternoon off and go soak in the hot springs, go do some yoga, tai chi, take a long walk, do something that actually moves your body, and it will move all this other stuck energy. So if you feel stuck, if you're not connecting with your muse, go move your body a little bit. It's amazing what that does.
Totally. And I think back, just one last point that I want to make, because I think this feeds really nicely into your client that wrote this heart-based sales letter and got such a great return. In the years that I've coached people around sales, people get really freaked out about things like graphics on my website, or what words did I use for my headline? And I'm not saying that those things aren't important. It's good to do your best, but the thing that sells more than anything is the alignment that you have with your message. You can have a fantastically ugly website with a crappy funnel, and you can write terrible sales copy, but if your heart's in it and you're aligned with it and your value piece is in place, you'll sell, because people will sense that. And really, ultimately, I think the one thing that everybody wants, regardless of what you're selling, whether you're selling bricks or jewelry or hands-on healing services, our clients want freedom. And when I say they want freedom, our clients want the freedom to do what they want to do and to be able to trust that the world they're living in is strong enough and supportive enough for them to be who they are in the world. And they think sometimes that freedom is money and all this other stuff, but it's really, they want that freedom. And that's something you can give them no matter what, by showing them what that looks like. Be yourself.
Yeah, I want to say about freedom, it's not necessarily laptop on the beach lifestyle. It's an internal
Let's go to the beach.
It's an internal freedom, right? There's something about freedom of not being like this. It's an internal freedom of feeling like I'm free to run my business, free to live my life.
Totally. So I want to give everybody a takeaway before we go.
And maybe if there's a comment or two, I'm checking around on Facebook. If there's any comment or question, I'm going to click around for a minute and see.
Everybody likes the walk your talk piece, and people do sense your energy, Tanya. Totally agree with you. And I think the piece that I really just want to encourage you to do this week as you think about this is, number one, pay attention to your clients. When they show up, what are they showing up with? And really give yourself the delicious invitation to take what your clients are showing up with and explore that with yourself in front of the mirror. And particularly around the idea of trust, faith, sustainability, and value. How are you showing up around with those 4 archetypes? Do you trust that you're supported? Do you trust that if you are your authentic self in your business, that the business will show up? Do you have the faith that even if you're building towards something and you don't see evidence yet, do you have the faith to keep taking those right actions? Do you trust that you will bring in the money and you're not making freaked out decisions based on panicking around income? And do you value yourself enough to sustain yourself energetically in your business? So that's my homework for you guys this week.
Love that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure that you are...
I have one more thing I want to show everybody. Hang on a second. We talked about this at the beginning, just to show you guys. This is our Ojo Caliente retreat that we have coming up. It is April 4th through 7th. So it's coming up, about 2 months, más o menos, a little bit more. And we also have a second retreat coming up in the fall in Colorado Springs. We do 2 retreats a year. The Ojo Caliente is really more about creativity and that whole restorative alignment piece. And the Colorado Springs piece is really more grounded and kind of business focused, and we really do some of the more hands-on parts of the business. But just letting you know, we've got 2 more spots open. We stay in an incredible house on this amazing property that's got sacred healing waters. We've got a chef coming to cook for us. We've got a whole bunch of really amazing things to do. We got the group that you're with. The clients who we have already coming are amazing, very powerful women. And, Jim Rohn talks a lot about hang out with people who you want to be like or who will lift you up. So come join us. If you feel called to come join us and be lifted up, not only by the work that we're going to do in this powerful property, but also by the women that are coming. Some of the women that are coming some of them have been with us already almost a year. They've written a best-selling book since our last retreat. They have launched a brand new series of products. They've gone through some major life transformations. They've gotten connected with their dreams for starting nonprofit organizations. This is a real place to get your mojo going and your momentum rolling if you need that. So,
And I'll post the links when we're done here.
cool. Awesome. As always, Michelle, it's whenever I get to hang out with you, it's just, it's aligned on an inner and outer plane.
It's fun. This was fun. And if you've got comments or questions, go ahead and post them under this video. And hugs to everybody. See you next week. Same
See you
time,
next
same
week.
place. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Want even more of Karen and Michelle? Don't forget to subscribe and head on over to thematrix.world to join our growing virtual co-working community for even more amazing content and coaching.